And now it's time for our GreenGov 2015 Campus Voices panel, GW leaders on the urgency of climate change. Would you please welcome an associate professor with GW's Milken Institute School of Public Health, Sabrina McCormick, rising GW senior and sustainability minor, Ellie Davis, and Lynn Goldman, the dean of GW's Milken Institute School of Public Health.
Good morning, everyone. And it's such a pleasure to be here and to be a part of this exciting event and to be a part of all of this amazing speaker lineup with these folks who are doing such amazing work across this country. I'm here as a part of a number of faculty here at GW who've been working on the very pressing issue of climate change. We have faculty here who are assessing the impacts of climate change in the Arctic. We have computer scientists who are using big data to make our climate models more accurate. And then we have people like myself who are assessing the public health ramifications of climate change, as well as understanding how we understand those risks and how we take action on them. And we hope that the science that we're doing here at GW can actually provide the basis from which people can take action and make policy that makes sense on climate change. Now, as a sociologist and a filmmaker, I know that science is incredibly important, but it's not the only thing that matters when we think about trying to engender action on climate change. What also matters is how we talk about it and how we tell stories about it. And so as a part of my line of work in filmmaking, I became a part of a team of the first TV series to present the human face of climate change that premiered last year, called The Years of Living Dangerously, which premiered on Showtime, 9-part series with 18 or 20 different stories involving celebrities who traveled around the world to show the human face of climate change. And we're now going to watch a clip which introduces the last episode of that 9-part series, and that features our favorite government leader on climate change. So let's go ahead and show that clip.
This is going to be one of the most significant long-term challenges, if not the most significant long-term challenge that this country faces and the planet faces.
On the season finale of Years of Living Dangerously, Paul has been collecting ice core samples to create a record of Earth's climate.
We saw these tremendous changes, many degrees Fahrenheit, happening in some cases in less than 1 year.
Doesn't that terrify you?
By 2050, 2070, between 20 and 30 million Bangladeshis are going to be displaced.
This part of Bangladesh will be underwater.
This is where his old house was. Everything was swept away. I preferred to save my children rather than my belongings.
What my country puts into the air is affecting more and more lives. Somebody has to lead the way toward a solution.
The most important thing is to guard against cynicism. There's a lot we can do about it. And if we are persistent, we will make progress.
As you see in that quote, Michael C. Hall, the star of Dexter and 6 Feet Under, probably many of you know him for that, walks across the banks of the Sundarbans in southern Bangladesh. And I walked across those banks with him. I have to say that mud is incredibly soft. But what was amazing to me was I'd been working on climate change at that point for almost a decade. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I saw the face of climate change in these communities whose land was literally falling away beneath their feet as river erosion advanced with more hurricanes and more sea level rise in the south of Bangladesh. So we presented the episode, right before that episode you saw the preview of, episode 8, on the Hill last spring. And various congressmen and congresswomen came. And one of the people who saw the episode said to me, you know, seeing this series, seeing all of these ramifications of climate change and how compelling these stories are was a real shot in the arm to me, to be able to give me the motivation to continue this very hard work on climate change. So I hope if you're able to see it, you will also think it's a shot in the arm for you. We are actually just beginning work on season 2, which will premiere on National Geographic next year. And so if you're able to see that, I also hope it will be the same for you. But even if you don't get to see this series, I hope that you will take very seriously, as leaders in your field, the idea that communicating about climate change and speaking to people about climate change of like mind and unlike mind is as important as anything else you might do in advancing our work on climate change in this country. Thank you.
So I had the great pleasure of going to the White House, which was very exciting as a student, and participating in the National Collegiate Leadership Conference that was hosted by the Center for Environmental Quality. While we were there, we talked about many different issues, and we talked about how we could empower and engage the rest of our generation. We also brought up the challenges that we're facing and the projects that we're trying to bring up. And I was very excited to learn about different ideas that other colleges across the country are trying to implement. From students that were just getting the recycling program started in Georgia to students that already have very well-funded green funds, and even one that had a program called Dance Your Plants Off, which I think we definitely need to bring to DC, because who doesn't like music in Basel? One of the things that I took away from that was that we're not alone, and that we're all working together in the same way, and that our generation, as we were reminded countless times at this conference, is kind of the last line of defense against climate change and the impacts that are impending. And from that, and through this week, I've realized that I believe that we are up to this task. Our generation is banding together, and it's not just teachers who have been teaching us this or lessons that we've learned from our parents, but it is in our culture. And now I'm very happy to present to you a video about my time at the White House. I'm Ellie Davis. I'm a student at GW, and I was asked to join a group of other students as we discuss climate change and ways to get our generation more involved with climate change and environmental issues. First, we went through security. It was super exciting. A little bit better than airport security. Not that much better. And then we had a great early session with Gina McCarthy coming to speak with us and encouraging us to talk about investment instead of divestment, talking about what we can do instead of what we can't do. Then we had breakout sessions where we got to talk about the issues that are on campus and what everyone else is doing to combat those different issues. Then we had a couple of different panel speakers. We had people talk about engagement and communication, and then we had lunch. It was great. Now we're going into our last session. One of the great takeaways that I've found from today at the conference with student leaders with CEQ is that we're not alone. Everyone is working on the same issues, trying to get people to engage with climate change, trying to get students to get really involved, and we're breaking out of our silos. We're breaking out of our university, government, student administration silos and talking in between and figuring out how to work together instead of just trying to solve problems separately. Thank you.
So as Dean of Public Health here, you can imagine how much fun it is for me to have faculty like this and students like this to work with every day. It's just a wonderful place to be. And communication, in my view, isn't just about what we say, but it's also about what we do. So at the School of Public Health, we have built a LEED Platinum building that not only is very environmentally friendly in terms of energy usage, but also conserves water, uses green materials, and it has a lot of very unique features that if you're interested in, we do host tours and we'd be happy to take you through it. It's the only LEED Platinum academic building in Washington, D.C. We also are very involved with education around climate change and health. And in fact, I too got to go to the White House. I was invited to join a group of deans of schools of medicine, nursing, and public health who were called together by the CEQ to talk about the issue of educating our students about the health consequences of climate change. And I will tell you that it's one of the most exciting meetings that I've attended in a long time. The level of enthusiasm among the schools from across the country that were brought together, the ideas that were shared, and we have offered to host a follow-up meeting that's going to occur in a couple of weeks. I just learned from CEQ that probably in 2 weeks we'll be bringing people back together, not only for another White House meeting, but also for a workshop that we'll host at the school. As part of our commitment to this, we are also going to put together a MOOC. This is one of these massive online courses that are available for free. And the topic of that will be climate change and health. And actually, Dr. McCormick, who's here, is going to star in that along with the film. So she's able to communicate not only in the context of a film narrative, but also in the context of the classroom. And I think this is something that will help to get this material out there, really for everybody globally who needs to learn it for free. And that this is an important time to do this because we're at a juncture where we do have this information. We recently hosted a town hall meeting about the climate and health report that's been developed, and we need this information to be made available broadly and for all the schools who are teaching not only people in the health professions, but others who are interested in health, that they need to learn that this is an environmental problem. Certainly it's an economic problem, it's a national security problem, we heard that, but it's also a public health issue. So thank you all for being here at George Washington University today.